He now spoke with Haiti's former First Lady, Mildred Aristide, on March 18th, the historic day that the Aristides flew back from South Africa to Haiti. I spoke to her about her husband's return to Haiti and why she thinks the U.S. tried to stop the trip.
Everyone knows that it is a horrific situation that the country is living in now, and with the earthquake. And so when they say they want Aristide present, to me, I see that as to accompany them in this process, as he accompanied them, as a priest when he was a priest, as an educator when he was teaching, as president when he was president, and now as a citizen, as a former president, and as someone who will continue and will work on expanding the work of the foundation in that capacity. And, you know, to say that it's the past is just really a crazy notion.
So 2 U.S.-backed coups, 1991 and 2004, and now the U.S., well, President Obama calling President Zuma to say do not fly the Aristides home to Haiti.
I think, again, I think it's an inability, maybe by the American political process, to understand the kind of relation that Titi has with the Haitian people. And it doesn't fit within the kind of policy frameworks that perhaps they have. And so it's an unwillingness to see beyond that. I'll attribute it to that. And, you know, in the meanwhile, well, I think that the United States and a lot of those, you know, Western European countries see politics a certain way, and I think that they have no right to impose that on other peoples.
That was the former First Lady of Haiti, Mildred Aristide, as she was about to land for the first time. President Aristide was returning to Haiti in 7 years after he was ousted in a U.S.-backed coup, the second coup backed by the U.S.
Well, she really understates the situation because between 2004 and 2006, 3,000 people were killed. There was a bloody repression in Haiti during that period with real issues at stake. And you see that in the cables time and time again, where the Haitian elite, for instance, you know, is putting huge pressure on the U.S. and the UN and the Haitian police to act in its interest to attack and to murder, to kill pro-Aristide, pro-democracy individuals in the poorest slum in the hemisphere. And by poor, I mean, you see the cables. What are the people fighting with in Cité Soleil? You know what they're fighting with? It says fecal matter. They're burning sewage to try to keep the UN out of Cité Soleil, to stop the shooting, the killing of themselves. These are people who are literally naked, who are hungry, who have no clothes, and they're fighting the biggest armies in the world, just like they did 200 years ago. And when you talk to the people, they see it as part of that same struggle against the Napoleonic armies, against the British Empire, against the Spanish Empire from 200 years ago. Now they're fighting the Brazilian army, the 8th largest army in the world, the U.S. Army, the UN occupation, to keep them poor. And this is the struggle that is happening. And Aristide did represent these poor people. And that's why he had to be overthrown.
Yeah. I should also say that I just did a piece in The Guardian about drawing on some letters that my grandfather had written from the Mexican embassy back in 1926, where he was saying...
what was your grandfather doing there?
He was actually guest of the ambassador at the time, Sheffield was his name, and he was saying that we probably shouldn't be forcing the Mexicans to take our industry and our investments. Forcing it is going to bring great unhappiness. And yet I compared it to this. Now here we are again, almost a century later, and we still have the U.S. forcing its agenda, its interests on these countries through these diplomatic intrigues that we see in WikiLeaks, or through economic sanctions, or through outright war.
And of course, the earthquake there in Haiti had to be the most cataclysmic event in the history of the country. But the cables also showed that there was a sense in the in the U.S. government already that the country was prone to a major earthquake?
Well, yes, on May 11th, 2005, there was a 4.3 level earthquake in Haiti, and that didn't do much damage, but that was a warning to them, and they were aware, and they said, man, if there's an earthquake here, it's going to be the worst thing that could happen. Haiti is in no way prepared to deal with any catastrophe like that, and they said, let's get preparations, but nothing was done, clearly.
Democracy Now! Was mentioned in the cables, Dan Coughlin?
One cable actually released previously through a FOIA request, a Freedom of Information Act request by Professor Chris Yerman at the College of DuPage in Illinois, where I think, Amy, you did a piece, again, back in July of 2005, exactly about Cité Soleil and a UN massacre there that we're talking about.
With Seth Donnelly.
With a person from a labor delegation out of San Francisco, Seth Donnelly. And so you were actually accurately reported what was going on, and the embassy was alarmed by it and reported on Democracy Now! And other groups saying, hey, what they were upset about was that there wasn't pushback, PR pushback on Democracy Now! By the UN.
And that's what Hillary Clinton was coming with when she was saying we have to get the narrative right. And they were calling, and we see that in one of the cables after the militarization, calling around to embassies around the world to tell them to go after the editors, go after, if there's anything, if it's in Ecuador, if it's in Doha, if it's in Thailand, go and fight back against any negative portrayal of the U.S. deployment after the quake. So they want to make sure that they get the narrative right. And you got it wrong, Amy.
The next installment?
Well, there's a lot to go through. Obviously, WikiLeaks in general is going from country to country, releasing thousands of cables, extraordinary stories all around the world happening every day at local, smaller countries around the world like Haiti, and the work that Haiti Liberté has done is amazing, and they go into much more detail in their publication on these cables. But there's going to be hundreds more released from the Haiti trove, including a special next week on the Haitian Parliament and what's happening with Haitian Parliament.
Well, we want to thank you very much for being with us. Dan Coughlin, Executive Director of Manhattan Neighborhood Network, and Kim Ives, who together are doing WikiLeaks Haiti, publishing them in Haiti Liberté and The Nation magazine. And on the issue of WikiLeaks, for our international viewers and listeners and readers, especially those in Britain, I'll be moderating a panel between Julian Assange, the founder of WikiLeaks, and the Slovenian philosopher Slavoj Žižek on July 2nd in the afternoon in London at the Troxy. And folks will be able to watch it on our website at democracynow.org. And if you're there, you can come on out and you can be a part of that discussion. So just check out our website at democracynow.org. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. Back in a minute.